ORPHEUS and EURYDICE. Orpheus was another son of Apollo. As a boy, Orpheus was given a lyre by his father, who taught him to play it. The boy was an excellent pupil. Soon he could play so well that no one could resist the charm of his music. So sweet was Orpheus's music that even wild beasts would forget their fierceness. When Orpheus grew into manhood, he married the beautiful Eurydice. The young couple were very much in love. However, soon after the wedding, a young shepherd named Aristeus saw Eurydice walking alone in the fields. The shepherd was attracted by her beauty, and he called out to her. Eurydice was afraid of his intentions, and she ran away. In her haste, she stepped on a poisonous snake and was bitten on her bare foot. She lay dying when Orpheus came and found her. Orpheus's grief was overwhelming. He picked up his lyre and sang about his love for Eurydice and the sadness in his heart. All who heard him were moved to tears, but none could help him. Orpheus decided to look for his wife in Hades. He descended into the underworld and sang his way past Cerberus, the fierce three-headed dog who guarded the gates. Finally, he arrived before the throne of Hades. There he sang of his grief and his desire to the Lord of the Dead.
O deity of the underworld,
sang Orpheus as he played his lyre.
to you all who live must come. Hear my words, for they are true. Love has led me here. I beg you to restore the life of my dear Eurydice. Destiny will lead us all here to your kingdom sooner or later, but my wife came too soon. We will return when she has lived a full life, but until then, I beg you, let her be mine. If you deny me this, then I cannot return alone. I will die here now, and you will have us both.
As Orpheus sang these tender words, the very ghosts shed tears. Hades himself could not resist feeling pity for the young man. Hades called for Eurydice. She was among the newly arrived ghosts, limping with her wounded foot. Hades permitted Orpheus to take her away on one condition. Orpheus was told he could not look at his wife until they had left the underworld and reached the surface of the earth. Orpheus sang his gratitude, and the reunited couple began their journey. Orpheus led, and Eurydice followed. They passed through passages dark and steep, in total silence, until they had nearly reached the cheerful upper world. Then Orpheus forgot his promise to Hades and looked back to make sure his wife was following. Instantly, Eurydice's spirit was taken away back to the underworld. She barely had time to stretch her arms out to her husband, and then she was gone. Dying a second time, she said, "Farewell, my love!" But the sound was almost lost to Orpheus's ears. Orpheus tried to follow her and begged Charon to take him across the river Styx. The ferryman refused and told him to go back. For 7 days, Orpheus stayed near the entrance to the underworld without food or sleep. Orpheus sang about his grief and the cruelty of Hades. His music melted the hearts of nearby beasts and mighty oak trees. He ignored the local maidens who tried to attract him away from his grief. In fact, he sang bitter words against them so that they left him alone. One day, drunk with wine, one of these maidens spotted Orpheus, who was still playing his lyre. "See there!" she shouted to her companions. "There is the one who despises us!" As she yelled these words, she threw her spear at Orpheus. The weapon flew straight at the grieving husband, but as soon as it came within the sound of the lyre, it fell harmlessly to the ground. So did the stones the other women threw at Orpheus. Then the women began to scream madly, and the noise from their throats overcame the sound of the lyre. This broke Orpheus's spell, and soon his blood ran freely from the stones the crazed women threw at him. He had to stop playing, and the mad women tore his body to pieces. They threw his head and his lyre into the river Hebrus. Downriver, Orpheus's aunts found his remains, and they buried him at Libethra. It is said that the nightingale sings more sweetly over his grave than anywhere else in Greece. His lyre was taken by Zeus and placed among the stars, where it forms the constellation Lyra. Orpheus's spirit passed a second time over the river Styx into Hades. He found Eurydice and embraced her with eager arms. They wander happily in the underworld now. Sometimes he leads and she follows, and sometimes it's the other way around. Orpheus looks lovingly on her always, and no longer fears punishment for doing so.